Hello, I'm Dr. Terry James Gingrass, and this is Dr. G's ADHD Chat. This is a program designed to make the world safe for ADHDers. I am a clinical psychologist and neuropsychologist in private practice, and I am also the parent of a couple of ADHD kids, one female, one male, and I have more in laws that have ADHD than you can shake a stick at. Most of them are diagnosed, though, fortunately. Um, my when my kids were being born, um, there was not a diagnosis of ADHD. It didn't exist yet. Okay, so this will date me and them somewhat, but in 1980 was the first time we had ADD, attention deficit disorder, as a diagnosis. And then about 1987, uh, ADHD was added. When you like, why did they add an H? Who cares? I mean, the and the thing that's important, I think, to know is that we have never had a comprehensive diagnostic criteria for adults. Okay, the the diagnosis was set for kids, and frankly, the initial research, or not even research, the initial thought on ADHD was that it was something that kids grow out of, and we know that's not true. Um, the thing is, it does change. The overt hyperactivity tends to go away with age, but basically, there's not been an accepted diagnostic criteria for adults. Now, you kind of got to understand how this works. It's not the most scientific of procedures, but basically, what you get is a bunch of psychiatrists get together every so often and debate the diagnostic categories, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of the APA. And that's what the whole field of mental health then uses after, uh, they publish the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual, and then that's the Bible. We have to follow what they say. And we're not, honestly, a lot of times it's not terribly scientific. These, I don't know, something about certain folks, they tend to get their egos involved in situations perhaps it shouldn't be about egos. But anyway, so this is what we have been using uh, to make diagnoses. I mean, I've been doing it myself for decades and decades. You just do. This is what we've got. This is what we got to make the best use of. But we all knew that there was not a specific, proven, separate diagnostic criteria for adults. I mean, basically, if you're not familiar, the diagnostic criteria for ADHD in general is so many, well, about 9 characteristics involving hyperactivity and impulsivity, and 9 that are more about inattention and executive function problems. And it's thought that as one matures, the overt hyperactivity tends to go away, but the inattentive stuff is still there. And boy, I can tell you some stories proving that. Uh, it's a the but basically, when we were making diagnoses, what we had to do is say, okay, can I see enough inattentive stuff that I think this makes that makes the diagnosis? Although there was never anything in the DSM, that said specifically, uh, ADHD for adults is such and such. So I mean, that'll be a major improvement. As I'm reading about this stuff in various journals and so on, I'm wondering how many people did I maybe misdiagnose because we didn't have clear criteria. And that's one of the things you worry about, because for some people, being diagnosed is actually a great relief, because with diagnosis, there's treatment. Good luck just going into your friendly neighborhood family practice doc and saying, I think I'd like to try Ritalin for a while. Ain't going to happen. You need a diagnosis. It's one of those categories of medication that you can get into a lot of trouble if you're just writing it too loosely, too liberally. And I'm, this is come home to roost in my house, because my wife is starting to think that she may have ADHD. She's always had some things about organization, and when I talk about horizontal organization versus vertical organization. Vertical organizers are people who use file cabinets or used to use file cabinets nowadays, and they put it all on their computers. But that was how you kept track of information. So there was never anything just lying around. Whereas horizontal organizers have piles. Every flat surface has got a pile on it. And the interesting thing is they all seem to know exactly what's in each pile. And you better not move anything, because they will remember that where everything was, and you'll be in deep trouble if you are moving their stuff, and they will not be appreciative of that. But we're looking at, and she's certainly not hyperactive, but of course, most females, shall we say, ADHDers tend to be inattentive type, not the hyperactive type anyway. So that's, again, this is another thing that's got to be ironed out when they start doing the diagnostic category, redoing them. And I'm eagerly awaiting, what they're going to do, and how it's going to affect us. And, well, it's just one of those problems with ADHD in general that has probably caused a lot of people a lot of problems. That I know with my family, we had a horrible time getting a diagnosis of my son, who he had the hyperactive type, but back in those days, I don't know what you had to do to get diagnosed, but it wasn't very easy. And he was evaluated a number of times, and he was just an active kid, yeah, he was just anyway. So this will hopefully be some progress for people, for those ADHD families out there that are having to try to figure out what to do with who and all that sort of thing. And especially if, you come to the realization late in life that, maybe all this stuff I've had so much trouble with my whole life is the diagnosis that would allow me to get some formal treatment. I mean, there are a lot of folks with ADHD who are being treated for anxiety and depression. And it's, I remember I had one guy, he came in to get his son evaluated for ADHD. And his son, he no kidding, had ADHD. And then when I'm doing the feedback session, I kept saying, and he has this, and this. And his wife kept elbowing him in the ribs and going, "That's just like you. That's just like you." Well, this guy had been treated for depression practically his entire adult life. And he was on the highest dose of antidepressant that they could give him. And it still was messing him up. So his wife suggested very strongly that he be evaluated as well, and it turned out we were pretty sure that he had ADHD. Um, severe executive function problems, uh, and the when you're like that, when you have ADHD and you don't know you have it, one of the things you do know is that you have more trouble than your peers in a lot of things. Uh, on the job, um, just in your family life, all sorts of ways. So a lot of ADHDers, especially if they're not treated, have a lot of trouble with depression. Um, and but if you treat the depression without treating the ADHD, well, just say it's a long haul. It's not as easy. Yeah, you make a lot of mistakes. Yeah, but you're not a screw up. But good luck with that distinction. So anyway, so that's um, some exciting, perhaps, news for many people, especially ADHD families out there ought to be real interested in this, because ADHD is genetic, and its heritability index is right at 85%, which is extraordinarily high. So, if you've got ADHD kids, you've got ADHD relatives and probably parents. I mean, it's possible that one or both of the parents are not ADHD, but it's not likely. Let's just say that. The ADHDers. Well, so some people have learned to compensate extraordinarily well. And those are the ones who either are so resilient that they can make mistakes over and over again and still come through thinking they're pretty good people, pretty nice guys, and whatnot. But by and large, ADHD it causes you a lot of trouble. If you happen to have that interest pattern that people look for in jobs, and then who cares? If you're a heavy metal guitarist or a artist or an actor, something like that, who cares if you're not linear and logical? You can do lots of things, and you see it. You see how many actors have ADHD, how many musicians have ADHD, how many athletes have ADHD. It's a lot. Okay. So, but they're the lucky ones that it doesn't really impact their performance that much. Because all the hyper focus stuff, it's tends to be in what they want to do for a living. So great. If I spend 12 hours trying to write a song, I'm up all night. Nobody's going to complain to me about that. And when it comes out and everybody loves it, I'm golden. Anyway, versus if you want to be an accountant, maybe not, might not be so good. But not to say that there aren't some ADHDers who probably hyper focus on accounting problems. Anyway, again, that's in my wife's family. Okay, so that's coming, and it's not out yet, but hopefully it will be soon, and then we'll all know a little bit more about ADHD, and hopefully some more people can be identified and helped. Alrighty, I'm Dr. Terry James Gingras. This has been Dr. G's ADHD Chat. We're trying to make the world safe for ADHDers because we need them. We need people who are not neurotypical thinkers, people who think outside the box, because there are some problems that just can't be solved by doing things the same old way we've always done them. And ADHDers are better at seeing novel solutions to different problems. So we need to encourage that. Okay, my website is terrygingrassphd.com. You can get on there and you can sign up for a freebie interview for coaching. I coach ADHDers, mostly I do a lot of executives and entrepreneurs, but I'm also open to some, other ADHD people, but I mostly do ADHD. And I don't even need to have ADHD. I could be most people, and I like it better if you're interesting, but that's neither here nor there. So that's ADHD. That's my website, coaching. I have a podcast as well, has the same title, Dr. G's ADHD Chat. It's available on all the outlets, and I have some things coming. I'm thinking very strongly about doing a mastermind. Although I have a couple of people saying, just concentrate on the podcast and coaching, and that's it. We will see. I probably will do a membership group, which I think will help a lot of ADHD folks and people in ADHD families. Because you could get isolated in ADHD, the world, with all these people who think you're a bad parent and all that other nonsense. Okay, we'll catch you next time. And if you have anything that you'd like me to talk about, or any questions you'd like me to answer, just put them down here somewhere and I will get them and get back to you. Okay, see ya.